Hi guys, thanks for checking in on the channel and clicking on this video, really do appreciate it. Just going to do something a little bit different with these videos later in the week here on the channel. Going to start a new segment of running news where I'll look at what's been happening here in Australia and internationally. Today we're going to kick off with having a look at the Zatopek 10 track classic that was held in Melbourne this week. Also talk a little bit about Jim Walmsley's record attempt at that 100k distance over in Arizona over the weekend. And also we'll have a look at the World Marathon Majors too that have now all announced their dates for later in the year. Guys, sit back. I hope you enjoy this running news. Wow, how good was that? Zatopek 10 live stream from Melbourne earlier this week, the track classic, 10,000 metres men's and women's Australian championships. A couple of great races. The women's race was in particular fantastic. I'll get to that in a little while. The men's race, yeah, great field, great lineup, great race. Just unfortunate that our two fastest ever 10,000 metre runners, Patrick Tiernan and Stewie McSwain, weren't in the race, but still a great race. All right, so let's recap what happened at the Zatopek 10 Classic. Well, how good was that, guys? The Zatopek 10 Track Classic, and as usual, produced some memorable racing and high quality performances. Now, on the men's side of things, Brett Robinson won his second Zatopek 10,000 metre championship when he ran away from training partner Jack Rayner late in the race. Now, Robinson, who also won in 2014 and also won the Launceston Half Marathon last month, guys, won in 28 minutes flat, with Rayner 13 seconds behind, and third place went to Dave McNeil in 28.16. Now Robinson was just 2 seconds outside his personal best, and he's already qualified, or has Olympic marathon qualifier for the Tokyo Games in July, but he believed after that run on Tuesday that he could nudge the 10,000 metre qualifying time of 27.28 in the right race. Now, I said earlier on, guys, that the two fastest 10,000 metre runners in Australian history, Patrick Tiernan 27.22 and Stewie McSwain 27.23, didn't race, but both of those guys have already got Olympic qualifiers. Now, it was an exciting race in the women's Zatopek, with 21-year-old Rose Davies smashing her previous best to win in 31.39 from Isabel Batt-Doyle in 31.43. Now, Canadian Andrea Sekafine was third in 31.45. This was a high quality race, guys, because the first 5 finishers all ran personal best times. Now Davies, she took a massive 1 minute 45 seconds off her previous PB and rocketed from 50th to 7th on the all-time Australian list. Her winning time was also the second fastest ever by an Aussie on Australian soil, and it was the 5th fastest time in Zatopek history for the women. Now Davies was just outside that Olympic qualifying time of 31.25, but her rapid rate of improvement in recent months really sets her up for a shot at that qualifying time in the future. Now, in some of the supporting races on the night, Lyndon Hall won the women's 1500 in 4:04.33, just falling shy of that Olympic standard of 4:04.20. Jenny Blundell was second in 4:07.71, ahead of Keely Small in 4:07.89. Geordie Williams got the better of his teammate Ryan Gregson to win the men's 1500 in 3:39.59. Gregson not far behind in 3:39.85. Queensland's Callum Davies ran a huge personal best to take third in 3:40.91. Now the night did see a world record, guys, coming in that men's 1500 with vision impaired athlete Jared Clifford breaking his own T12 world record, finishing 6th in a 3 minutes 42.97 seconds. Well done, Jared. Now turning our attention to the roads, and the World Marathon Majors, guys, have now all settled on race dates for later in the year, with Boston this week announcing it will hold its 125th edition on Monday, October 11th. That's right, the day after Chicago. Now this, of course, is all dependent on what happens with the COVID-19 pandemic, but all races are in the same boat. Now, in a release from the Boston Athletic Association, it said the race will go ahead if road races are allowed to take place as part of the Massachusetts reopening plan. A virtual race option will be also offered as part of the Boston Marathon. Now, details including field size for the in-person race and registration dates and safety measures and protocols and participant requirements that will be in place on race day. These will all be announced at a later date. Still on the World Marathon Majors, guys, the Virgin London Marathon announced this week that the 2021 race is set to be the biggest marathon ever, with 100,000 runners taking part on Sunday, October 3. There's going to be 50,000 virtual places for runners, plus 50,000 participants who can take to the streets of London. Now, Virgin Money boasted in this week's release that the 37,966 runners who took part in the first virtual London Marathon in 2020 achieved Guinness World Record for the most users to run a remote marathon in 24 hours. So let's run through the dates. Berlin starts things off on September 26, followed by London on October 3, Chicago on October 10, Boston October 11, Tokyo October 17, and New York rounding out on November 7. Of course, these dates are dependent on where we are at with the coronavirus pandemic. And what will these races look like if they do go ahead, guys? What level of international participation can we expect if there are still travel bans in countries around the world? No doubt things will become a lot clearer as vaccines are rolled out and we get a little bit closer to those race dates. Would you consider having a crack at all 6 races? Let me know in the comments down below if you would be up for it. A lot has already been said and written about Jim Walmsley's 100k world record attempt as part of the Project Hoka Carbon X2 event held in Arizona last weekend. Now, we all know that Jim missed Naoya Kazami's 2018 record of 6 hours, 9 minutes and 14 seconds by just 11 seconds, basically running the last third of the race by himself. Now, when you put this into perspective, guys, Jim's run this 100-kilometre event at an average of 3:41 per kilometre, or 5:57 minutes per mile. That is just astonishing. I cannot fathom somebody being able to run that far at that speed. It's just mind-blowing. Despite clipping his left shoulder on a course sign after just 3.5 hours, Jim still shattered the American record of 6 hours, 27 minutes and 44 seconds. Now, there were plenty of pictures of Jim showing his bloodied left shoulder, which he tried to treat as best as he could while taking on fuel at water stops. An absolute massive effort from Jim to get so close. But let's pause for a minute and just remember how good Kazami's run must have been in 2018 to get that 100k world record. It was really interesting to hear Jim say afterwards that he's not done with the 100k and that he will revisit the distance. And it was surprising that he thought that he left a little bit out there. So he now feels that they've got the right shoes to break the world record. Now, the Hoka Carbon X2 is very new to the market, and already there have been plenty of reviews here on YouTube, with most giving them an overwhelming thumbs up. Still, on that 100k race, the women's winner was France's Audrey Tanguy in 7 hours, 40 minutes and 35 seconds. Now, there was an Aussie in the project, guys, and that was, I'm going to get Dion's last name wrong here, Dion Finocchiaro. His attempt at the Aussie record didn't quite go to plan, and in his words on Instagram, the wheels suddenly fell off and I couldn't go any further than 69 k's. Dion, still a massive effort, mate, and let's hope you're back for another crack at that 100k Aussie record in the future. Alright guys, that's a little bit of a snippet of running news for this week. Make sure you check back next week for more running news. Now, before you go, you know that in a recent video I mentioned that the Running Duck Effect has now got a Strava club, so go and check that out, guys. As part of that Strava club, a lot of people take pictures of their runs and upload, so here's a few pictures from members of the Running Duck Effect's Strava club.